What's up, guys? Barry Game here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today, well, the testing just goes on and on with Doppelganger Natalia because, well, she's actually a very surprisingly interesting support where it's like she could be really good in certain areas, but you can't really tell until you truly test it. And today I was doing a bunch of PvP. Does she change the meta? That, I think, is the big question on a lot of people's minds. Let's talk about it. So I've been doing a lot of testing this past weekend. We've been doing it on free-to-play accounts. We've been using her on our own account. Now, she's not even a homeowner. She's just a tenant. She's still almost at 6 million attack, and she's built kind of tanky overall. Was using some speed attack here. Actually, you know what? I just realized. Oh, we need to actually re-roll this stone and try to get another one. We'll see about that. I just realized I've been running less speed and attack than I should be in this situation, but she's, you know, pretty solid. She's got her 2-star gear. We might actually be able to get her 3-star gear. Actually, we can already get her 3-star gear, which is really awesome. I'm loving this hero, and so much about her is amazing. The only thing I haven't done is sublime her branch right here. Don't know if I really want to spend the sublimation on it. To be determined. But there's a lot of things that she does do well, and it's mainly because, well, the Vulcan meta is still here. If you guys are not using this guy right here, and honestly even building him tanky just to make sure he lives, you're doing something wrong. If you care about PvP, getting to weakness disclosure as fast as possible is probably one of the biggest things out there. Now, in order to get there, basically whenever an enemy releases active skills, gains 1 layer of analysis, each of which increases self-damage reduction, blah, 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 doesn't matter. And then at the end of each round, if you have the deep sublimation, you get an additional layer, meaning you get 2 per round, meaning it takes you into like the 6th round, sometimes 5th round to actually get this effect to happen. Surprisingly enough, you don't want to prevent the enemy team from getting actives. Silencing the enemy teams, things like that, really bites you in the butt. Even CCing the enemy team kind of bites you in the butt, which is why most of the time when I PvP now, I just run a lineup that's straight up damage dealers and support. Now, granted, Hyperspace Hunter Ilamot can do his little counter attack when he blocks, and he does have a pretty good chance to stun them. It's a little unfortunate, but I'm not running heroes like Eos that has a chance to reduce energy. I'm not running Vesa, who has a chance to silence them anytime a hero dies. No Jara for CC, nothing like that. I want them attacking every single time. Now, adding heroes in like Mystic Fairy Freya or Elena is actually not that bad because dodging doesn't matter. They still get that ability off. And usually it really comes down to which Doom Terminator Vulcan can get their weakness disclosure active off first, and that's really important. Now, the one thing I will say, she does help support this meta very significantly, mainly because, well, she puts all of her Bright Blessing into your Doom Terminator Vulcan, which is huge because that gives him some extra survivability just in case for some reason you don't get to go first. I have seen it where we've actually survived through actives from the enemy Vulcan and actually still get a win. Then on top of that, she's giving this Guiding Glow, which is amazing, which is giving additional attack, holy damage, which is amazing with the sheer amount of times that Vulcan actually hits, damage reduction for survivability, and crit damage by 20%. I've even seen this doubly buffed from her so that he's at double these stats. And on top of that, when we take a look at some other things here too, giving him the shield is amazing because that's giving him an additional 30% damage reduction and more healing if necessary. And on top of all that, because he has Bright Blessing, he is going to be doing counterattacks of 1000 attack. That does kind of weaken the shield. Sometimes you can actually kill 1 or 2 enemies before you actually get your weakness disclosure active off. But overall, I've seen it's not a game changer. It does help support the meta, I will say that much. And actually, I don't even know. Yeah, I had a couple things. I think I literally was doing my testing with Balanced Strike, and we were still like surviving. It's kind of crazy that's actually how it was working. Need to change. That's fine. I want to change this back to here. Yeah, make him a little tanky, give him a crown, let him go to work, and then literally just put other support heroes around him. Even going to the fact where I don't really use Lord of Fear Aspen at least with a Rui Scepter, because again, I don't want him draining energy. I want them getting actives off as much as possible. So it's really weird to say, but like the super tanky team is what I've been doing the most lately. I mean, we can even go up against Penny here. Oh, maybe not Penny. Penny's got that SSS Vulcan. I don't want to test against Penny. Never mind. I take it back. I take it all back. But pretty much running a team like this. We're going to have Queen in there. We're going to have her in there. We can even just throw some other support heroes in that aren't going to do too much for us. We're leaving a lot on the table as far as survivability goes here. Surprisingly enough, there's two different trains of thoughts you can do. Number one is you can use the core of our main taunter essentially, or I've started to really like Asmodel's core because it gives him some additional hits. It also gives all damage dealt for every enemy with revenge up to 4 stacks, so it's like another almost 30%. Wait, 20, 25%. It's like 23%, something like that. I really like his core, and yeah, we might have some giant killers, but other people have bigger treasure trains than us, and as you guys know, that is the big deal. So really, it doesn't change the meta that much. I do find that I like this better. Again, I want essentially the enemy team to just get as many actives off as possible, because that's going to really speed up the process of us getting that weakness disclosure active. I've actually gotten it off on, like, I think round 4 was my best one. So you see the enemy Vulcan, he gets an active, doesn't quite punch through. Our Vulcan might just punch right through this, honestly. And even though they do have that Star Alchemist Holmes Young, I mean, you can see he's got additional buffs and everything. It's really, you can kind of see the shield behind his crown. It's really hard to see. Trust me, it's there. But basically, we're going until Vulcan gets the little glowy around him, his Super Saiyan aura, because that's literally what happens. Is he literally goes Super Saiyan. Like, I mean, he has the golden aura and everything. Now, sadly, we're kind of killing enemies off, meaning they're not getting many actives off either. But he's just got, like, look at the buffs this guy has. They just keep replicating and stacking, and you can see all the buffs that we're getting. Yeah, before weakness disclosure even happens, pretty much taking out everybody but like the main householder on Vesa. But she's not gonna be able to crit. Granted, we can't crit on her either because she's got that little flower. I don't think it matters. Yeah, I think we get the W no matter what, essentially. So Vulcan doing big damage. I'm liking Asmodel because he's a really tanky hero for PvP right now, especially with a crown. And then on top of that, his core I'm loving, and he also has that shield that is giving damage reduction to the lowest HP target on your team as well. Really loving that right there. I mean, we could go, all right, we'll go up against Penny. Penny's actually rocking the same thing, the degen. We'll see how this goes. Their Vulcan, they might just completely obliterate us, but we'll see how this goes. It was a long loading time, which makes me think it is a longer battle, but again, we'll have to see how this actually plays out. So you can see he has both he has both mirrors. Both of the Vulcans have both the positive and the negative mirror on top of them, which is really interesting. We did get stunned. Again, not really a big deal. Actually, being CC'd in this situation is kind of a better thing because, again, we want the enemy team doing as many actives as possible with us not doing as many. I kind of like it. Building everybody basically with a crown means that... Oh, actually, I don't know what Freya had. It's surprising. Freya doesn't have a crown or anything else, and she still is super tanky because of Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok. And really, so long as Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok is a thing, like, I cannot see the PvP strategy moving away from Vulcan no matter what other support heroes enter the meta, unless we finally get one that literally removes shields. Like, if we have one that can delete shields in, like, some sort of ability or something like that, I think that would be the only time we'll see that actually happen here. Still watching both the Vulcans here just for a quick example. Again, feels weird that they have both mirrors. Very interesting. You see tons of debuffs get spread around though across everybody. All right, they're still using their abilities. Arania is an interesting choice. I wonder why Penny is using Arania. I've never really seen her being used in a good way, so to speak. Still no glowy aura, but again, PvP battles take a long time, even though they only go 4 to 5 rounds now. Just because there's so many counterattacks, there's so many ping damages, there's so many animations to go through. Like you can see here how many things happen. And so far, everybody is still in the same state. Everybody's fully shielded essentially on our team. Theirs is a little bit weaker, but not by much. Honestly, Fan, I think, is still really good in this meta instead of Crown. But Crown is like that safety net for the first round. Yeah, no, we're still good. Still, neither hero has the weakness disclosure buff. When we do get it, in case you guys have never actually seen what it looks like, yeah, Freya's hurting now without any damage reduction artifacts. That's for sure. I will freeze it so you guys can actually see what it looks like. And I'm just hoping when we get it, we're also lined up with an active, because sometimes you can get weakness disclosure and not have an active yet, and then it feels really bad because you lose your preemptiveness. Look at all those debuffs, 11 stacks on the enemy Vulcan, but it really doesn't make a huge difference. What it does do is it helps protect your team in a way before weakness disclosure, because as you can see, sometimes you do get some additional hits off and stuff where you can pick away at an enemy. Now his Vulcan is extremely strong with those SSS stats and a much better treasure train than us. Okay, right here, see this glowing halo? Their Vulcan actually beat us to it, so we could just end up dying right here. Yep, and see, it's all about just getting it to it sooner. She doesn't add that much to the mix. Like it still just comes down to whose Vulcan goes first. So does she change the meta? Not really. Does she help support the meta? A little bit. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think. Again, really just comes down to this thing. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, surprisingly, we didn't CC them at all or anything yet. He still somehow got to that faster, maybe because we killed the hero off, so then we have less actives from the enemy team. So in reality, you don't want to kill enemies before weakness disclosure. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. See you guys next time.